contrary to popular demand, is that saying? Oh, like confidence doesn't come first. Like as a lot of people think confidence comes first, but certainty does. You require that certainty to push you further first. You know how some people say, oh, when I have the job, when I have gotten the qualification, oh, I need to do one more course or one more training or one more thing, and then I'll be confident. In this video, we're going to break that down and debunk that to say why it is not the case and how you have to be certain and building the reps is what's required to build that confidence. Hi, I am Nene and I am a speaker trainer coach, and I predominantly work with shy but capable individuals, interpreters and translators navigate those internal challenges that is holding them back so they can confidently step into the role. So if you've ever said to yourself like, oh yeah, once I've done this course, once I can like do this or whatever that is, then I would. Look, I've been there, I've said that. I've actually like I think I've got a couple of t-shirts on that. So be rest assured that you're not alone in this. It's something that I'm very mindful of, and I'm very like in particular in in how this works. So I'll tell you like how this plays out for me. For instance, when I was training to become a interpreter, halfway through the training, we were having, or not even halfway, like towards the beginning, when I needed to start having evidence for video, the realization that, oh, it has to be done by recording yourself, sending that, and then being evaluated. And I had a thing for videos. I was still in my shy era, and the thought of being or doing something, being filmed was not a thing. I was one of those people, like as a Nigerian, who, like, we grew, we party, we celebrate and all that. And the celebrants would want to capture the people who are there, the moments, and you get the videographer who would just be panning out and like filming everyone, and I'm always like on the lookout. It's like so that I can just be like, and then it go past me or whatever that is. I didn't see this one day, and he just caught me midway of like trying to put a spoon of jollof rice in my mouth, and I was like, okay. And like in my head, it felt like we were there for hours. Like we are on this kind of like, okay, who's gonna give in first? And I'm there like, bro, like move on. Like, but I had a straight face on. I was like, just poker face, and this guy was still on me. And I stayed on there, and I think I won because he had to move on. That's how I was. I freeze when I see that the camera, or I hide away, or I was so timid at the time, or just I just had a thing with camera. So when I then realized that in order to showcase that I can do what I'm doing, it needed to be I needed to be recorded. So I had to do something. And it wasn't a case of like, okay, let me go and do a training or do whatever to view this. I just said, look, you know what? We're going Coke 30. This thing, I'm going to get used to you. I had this big old camcorder back in the day with this bright red light that would let you know that it's been like it's recorded, plonked in the corner of my room. And I would just like just to break the ice. And in that doing, I didn't know I was new encoding myself. I was actually breaking, like doing something. It's on there, and I put it on. I'll probably go out and come back, even though it's still recorded, and I'll catch myself. And then the amount of like me holding my breath was just lessening and lessening. And then as days went on, it would be more kind of like acknowledge and just move on and like nod or like, yeah, I see you or whatever that is. And then it became, okay, now I'm going to acknowledge it and say hi to it or like say, or like whatever it is. Okay, now it's like talking to it, say something, a phrase, whatever. I was nobody else was in the room, okay? This is like, there's not even anyone else here. It was just me, and I was having this thing going on with this camera to the point that I was then able to speak to it. Okay, now let's now sign to it. And by doing this, then waiting to be like, okay, let me go learn how to do this, be comfortable in front of camera. Let me go and figure it out. I'll keep on being stuck. I'll keep on being stuck. So I want to like a question to ask, like, where in your life, what area have you held yourself back because you felt that you needed to have something before you can then show up. You needed to have whatever that is for you before you can then truly be able to do the thing. So like take a moment and just like think back, like, what's that? Because one thing about successful people is they're not doing it because they don't have fear. They're doing it because they fear less. It's still there. You know, me doing this stuff doesn't mean like, okay, now because the red light was shining and I'm doing this, and that means like I was not comfortable or like I like all those insecurities or whatever that about being in front of the camera had gone. No, it was just more that the more I was doing it, the more that was building up the reps on just seeing that red light and on just looking into the lens, the more I got confident in it, the more it was just it then became like, yeah, I can, oh wow. I didn't flinch this time. I said hi. I said this. I said that. And like we were just vibing. And it became like I was just talking to a friend. And then I became confident and comfortable being around the lens, being around the camera, being around like, and being able to then progress to recording and showing up for my assessment, be able to like sit there and be recorded in getting the evidence. Because even when my colleagues were like, I thought you said you have a thing for cameras and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I did. But I did the work. So the confidence was showing through. So they were seeing something totally different. It wasn't that like, yes, now I'm like, oh, the fear was still there, but I became like desensitized with the fear of like what that gets to mean. I don't know what it meant for me then, but it had such a huge hold on me. So having that certainty of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to show up. Like just taking that reps on and on and on and on, having that discipline to keep doing it, the described action as described over time, even when you are not feeling it, even when you don't want to until the goal is achieved. That's where the confidence comes in. The confidence comes in within that dynamics. Because if you're sitting and waiting in the line, like the sidelines, nothing's happening. Nothing's going to like really like be show up or start having like um I'm just like thinking about like what's the another analogy because like even in like the interpreting field, right? You find a lot of people saying, oh, I can't do that job, or I can't do this, or I'm like this, I'm that, or whatever that is. So they hold themselves back and feeling like, oh, I need to just do one more training on this. I need to do that. And it's not even that. Test the waters. You are capable. You've been signed up that you can do the job. Start showing and doing. And over time, you get comfortable with it. Over time, you start being able to be able to like showcase yourself, express yourself. And then you'll be like, oh gosh, you got this. But then you look back and say how far you've come, like what the thing. Because the thing about confidence is it lives in like the activity. People think it lives in action because action is just doing it one time. But when you're doing that activity is doing the action over and over and over again until you've got surpassed that goal, right? Like you're doing that thing, you're doing the activity that's required. And in that process, the confidence then comes in. But when you do like if I had just put the camera in the corner and then just one time like, yeah, I'm not okay, and that's it. I never carried on. I'll go back to it because yeah, it was just kind of, but I wasn't totally confident or comfortable in front of the lens at just one try of just being able to stand looking at the light. It was a process to get to that point. So it's about the activity, the reps that we're building in. It's about the way we're now like the certainty is built by those reps we're doing, by those actions that we're taking, by the things that we say we're going to do. So what is that thing that you can stop waiting on? You can stop saying, okay, when I know. take a moment and just journal it and like figure out what is that thing that I need to do now that my future self will be grateful for, will thank me for, will be glad I did. I stepped up, I showed up, I did the thing I said I was going to do. And here we are on the other side, looking back and like celebrating the fact that we did that. So here is a time to stop waiting and start moving, to choose the thing that you say you want to do and start doing it and not wait to when, oh, when I have, if that, when this happened. No, it happens now. You're going to take that, to start taking the reps to do this. And if you love this, don't forget to hit the follow, subscribe so that you can, this is a series I'm doing of identity shift series for the next 30 days. You can subscribe so that you can click on notification so you can get to here and be in this way. How can we start shifting identity into the person who we are while becoming it? Till next time.